Have you ever considered how crucial it is to preserve our heritage, and yet how challenging it can be when it clashes with property rights? Imagine a city rich in culture, history, and architectural marvels. Now, imagine that same city grappling with the balance of safeguarding its heritage and respecting the property rights of its residents. This is the reality for Chandigarh, India. At the heart of this challenge lies UNESCO's heritage policy, which seeks to preserve outstanding universal value, or OUV. This policy safeguards cultural, historical, and architectural treasures that hold significant value not just for a single nation, but for the entire world. Unfortunately, this noble cause can sometimes clash with the rights of property owners. The city of Chandigarh finds itself at the center of this debate, with heritage preservation measures seemingly infringing upon property rights. But the question remains, how can we strike a balance between preserving our shared heritage and respecting the property rights of individuals? A prime example of this conflict lies within Chandigarh's commercial properties. Let's take a closer look at Kiran Theatre, Neelam Theatre, and KC Theatre. These are not just buildings. They are iconic landmarks, deeply woven into the cultural fabric of Chandigarh. Each property holds an estimated value of 200 crores. But here's the paradox. These valuable properties sit dormant and unsellable. Why, you may ask? Restrictions imposed in the name of heritage preservation have halted all potential transactions. Now, let's shift our gaze to neighboring areas. We see a bustling business environment, a stark contrast to the silent theaters. It's not hard to see that something doesn't quite add up. How can we honor our heritage and yet allow for growth and development? This conundrum raises questions about the balanced implementation of heritage guidelines. It's a fine line to walk, and it seems Chandigarh is still finding its footing. This raises questions about the balanced implementation of heritage guidelines in contrast to the business environment in neighboring areas. But it's not just commercial property owners who are feeling the pinch. Let's turn our attention to private house owners in Chandigarh. They too are grappling with a significant challenge: a hold on the sale of their property shares. Imagine paying the due stamp duties, all set to sell your share in your property, only to find out that the process is stalled. This disruption in the traditional selling process is more than just a minor inconvenience. It's a significant financial burden. The inability to sell property shares can tie up funds that homeowners might need for various reasons, such as medical emergencies or funding their child's education. The question then arises, how does the heritage preservation fit into this picture? The answer is complicated. While the intent to preserve heritage is admirable, it seems that the implementation of these concepts is creating an undue burden on homeowners. This raises concerns about the arbitrary application of heritage concepts. To understand the situation better, we need to delve into UNESCO's heritage guidelines. The United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, more commonly known as UNESCO, was founded on November 16, 1945. Its mission is rich and expansive, encompassing the designation of World Heritage Sites, such as the Chandigarh Capital Complex in India. The heritage concept itself is broad, spanning cultural, natural, intangible, and even digital elements. It's a global endeavor, aiming to safeguard our shared history and the treasures within it. This endeavor took a significant turn in 2015 with a new policy integration. This wasn't just a change, it was an evolution, an expansion of the very concept of heritage. This policy integration brought a new dimension to heritage preservation, underlining its contribution to three key areas: environmental sustainability, inclusive social development, and economic development. A triad, if you will, that seeks to harmonize our past, present, and future. This policy integration emphasizes heritage's contribution to environmental sustainability, inclusive social development, and economic development. This is where the paradox lies. Chandigarh, a city known for its compliance with regulations, finds its residents caught in a conundrum. On one hand, They are proud homeowners in a city renowned for its architectural heritage. On the other, they are unable to exercise their right to sell shares in their homes, a basic property right. This restriction doesn't only affect the real estate market, it impacts the lives of residents in profound ways. Imagine being unable to liquidate your property share for urgent needs, such as a medical emergency or to fund higher education. The financial implications are significant and raise valid concerns about the arbitrary application of heritage guidelines. The role of Chandigarh's Heritage Committee is to protect and preserve the city's heritage, a noble cause indeed. But the question is, should this role extend to the private houses of the city's residents? Are these homes part of the city's heritage, or are they personal properties, free from such restrictions? Questions arise about the inclusion of private houses under the Heritage Committee's purview and adherence to UNESCO guidelines. These arbitrary restrictions violate human rights and natural justice. Chandigarh's denial of citizens' right to sell shares in houses requires rectification. It's a statement that echoes in the hearts and homes of approximately 25,000 households, each one a testament to the human story, each one deserving of the same rights as any other. Imagine the financial burden of being unable to liquidate your assets in times of need. The harsh reality is that many residents are forced to endure this, unable to access funds for critical medical treatments or to secure a better future through higher education. They're left grappling with additional expenses in old age and the struggle to support their children's businesses or repay outstanding loans. This isn't just about the numbers. It's about the human stories behind them. It's about the potential wealth destruction that could ensue if this situation persists, a catastrophe that could affect approximately 25,000 households. But remember, there's always a way to strike a balance that respects the rich tapestry of our shared history and the rights of the individuals who make up that history. A balance that acknowledges the importance of preserving our cultural and historical heritage, while also recognizing the fundamental rights of property owners. The current situation necessitates prompt withdrawal by the Chandigarh administration and highlights the urgent need for a balanced approach in preserving heritage while respecting property rights. Let's champion for a future where heritage and humanity can coexist harmoniously, where preservation does not mean prohibition, and where respect for the past does not infringe upon the rights of the present.